that. But right now, I'd quite like to talk about social care, which is a real pressing issue in the Parkinson's community. It's really important to support people to live as well as they possibly can with Parkinson's. So the first person I'd like to go to is Fiona, who is here in the room and who has a question about, based on her experience with her husband Martin and social care. So over to you, Fiona, the floor is yours.
Okay, it's a little bit of a long question. Most councils impose charges for social care support. From personal experience, there's a postcode lottery around this charging. All capital is considered fair game to snatch from families, including money inherited from recent bereavements and a lump sum from the carer's pension. There's no cap applied to these charges, and the charges can be massive. The distinction between personal and non-personal care is nebulous and poorly understood by social workers. No account is taken of the cost of disability already facing people. In 2017, Parkinson's UK's research revealed that this is £13,375 annually in Scotland, and charging for support assessed as necessary for people in priority need is an equalities issue for people with Parkinson's and their carers. What is your party going to do to ensure that social care, which is as essential as health care, is free at the point of delivery?
Right, okay. There was a recent announcement by the First Minister, so I don't know whether Adam would be able to elaborate on that.
Well, I can probably speak more about the social care services here in Edinburgh. That's more my forte, if you like. In terms of what we're providing right across the services, I think Edinburgh and Lothian has a fairly positive story to tell in terms of the support we're giving people and their families. It hasn't been easy. 2.5 years ago, when I became council leader, it wasn't just the quite specialist support services that were under extreme pressure, it was everything. And the blockade that was between NHS services and social care services, and I appreciate we're talking mainly about social care services, but the interaction is absolutely crucial between both, was driving up waiting times for delayed discharge, was driving up waiting times for people waiting for care packages, and also waiting, crucially, to be assessed for care packages. There are still issues around Edinburgh and Lothian's rate of self-directed support that gives people an enormous amount of more power, talking about the extreme complexity of people's lives when they experience Parkinson's disease. It's one of the things that I think can help people manage their own, go back to that individualistic approach to help people manage their individual conditions. But broadly, in the last 2.5 years, and particularly in the last year, we've seen quite a stark improvement in those services. So the waiting times for those waiting for a care package, waiting to be assessed for a care package, right across the board has fallen. Those experiencing delayed discharge, wanting to get out and get back into their own homes, back into the community, have fallen, I think, almost by half in the last 12 months. And that, I think, has given us a much stronger position to start from when looking at some of the fundamental problems that that people experience.
The question is about charging specifically. So.
I mean, I'm not aware of Edinburgh charging for, in terms of our social care services, in relation to elements of Parkinson's disease. I'd have to go and look at some of the support services that would be mentioned. So I'm not aware of elements of that support that is being charged for right now in Lothian. I think broadly we're not in that space, but I'd have to go back and look at some of the specifics.
I don't know, I think that the issue that Fiona was raising about charging was much more about how lacking in transparency it is. So different councils have different charging policies, and the definition of personal care means that any care that somebody receives that isn't deemed to be personal care can be charged for, and there are big issues for self-funders in terms of how much they are expected to pay, and also for the impact specifically in families or in couples where a pension can be a pension lump sum belonging to the non-cared for partner can be taken into account as income. So I think this is about unfairness of social care charging and what's your party planning to do to address that?
So can I follow up on the point of staff training, because one of the things that has stopped us using self-directed support as much within the City of Edinburgh is the knowledge within the staff that are interacting with people on a day-to-day basis in terms of just providing people with the tools necessary. The retraining programme that we've done right from the very top of the organisation in terms of social care services right down to everyone who's interacting with service users right across the city has been pretty root and branch, and what we've seen is that people have, one, increased uptake of things like self-directed support, but two, are getting the right advice. And I mean, I appreciate your framing it as a postcode lottery, but actually it's more about the expertise and knowledge of the individuals who are engaging with people in the front line.
No, it's actually a postcode lottery about charging.
Yeah.
So I get that. I mean, I don't know the example beyond the City of Edinburgh, and I'm not aware of this charging for services. But
Yeah, I mean, I think if Fiona was going to come back, she might argue that she stays in one council and the council next door doesn't charge for self-directed support. The council that Fiona Martin lives in does charge for self-directed support, and that's one of the lacking of transparency and lacking consistency between those two systems. I don't know if you've got anything to add, Fiona?
Well, I suppose just that our situation is that I've worked in social work for 35 years, so I deal with self-directed support every day. The council I live in doesn't charge for that support. The council I work in doesn't charge for that support. The council where I live does, to the extent that I run the risk of losing my pension when I retire. I'm now afraid to retire because my pension will be regarded as joint capital and taken into account. So 10 minutes along the road, it's a complete postcode lottery.
So that's the underpinning of the statement. Do you have anything to add in response to that, or shall we?
No, I mean, in terms of what we do, you know, obviously there are minimum standards that are set. I think it's about defining from national government what those entitlements are and making sure that that information flows right down to absolutely every organisation. The situation with the local authority that charges for those services, I'm not familiar with, so I can't.
Okay. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate you're in a difficult situation with trying to look across several councils at the same time. Moving to you, Colin.
Thanks, Gareth. I mean, the previous Labour government brought in free personal care for older people, and I'm delighted that's been extended to younger people. But the reality is there are lots of things that should be personal care that are being charged for across local authorities, everything from a care call system to somebody in an old folks home who is there because they need that extra care, but are being charged on occasions quite astronomical fees for their accommodation, for their food. And I have difficulty with that because the reason why somebody's receiving that care is because they need that. Their condition means they're unable to maybe have that in their own home. And ultimately, what it comes down to at the end of the day is resources. Lots of local authorities across Scotland have increased charges in recent years, or they've brought in new charges, and it is primarily because they are trying to balance the books. We've seen a £1.5 billion cut in local services in the last few years, real terms reduction because of the massive cuts given to our local councils. My own local council has seen their funding, Dumfries and Galloway, reduced by 12.6% in real terms since 2010 alone. Every year, councillors have to go through the pain of where they need to find the cuts, where they need to increase charges, whether it's leisure charges or care charges, just to try to balance the books. And we simply can't go on like this where our local authorities are being starved of resources. We need to properly fund our local services if we want to ultimately get rid of these charges or reduce them. One party believes that we should have as I said earlier, a national care service, so we do have consistency and an end to the postcode lottery in terms of the standard of care, in terms of any charges, but we really do need to make sure that we properly fund our local councils to get rid of these charges. It shouldn't be people that rely on care that are the ones that are paying the price for austerity, and that is the ultimate aim. Get rid of these charges by funding a local service properly.
Okay, thank you, Colin. And finally, Miles for the Conservatives.
So, before the last election, Scottish Parliament election, I met Amanda Capel and worked with her and Frank Splore to take forward in this Parliament the changes which, in terms of legislation anyway, has delivered an extension of free personal care to those under 65. And it was the injustice around people just because of their age not receiving that care which really drove us to do that. Now, the problem is in terms of the guidance which then gets handed out to local authorities and through COSLA, whether or not they feel they have to go and deliver everything they've been told to, or whether or not means testing. And that's where you're seeing that development of a postcode lottery, and councils sometimes not using that money. And there's another £32 million being made available for that free personal care to actually make sure that's delivered on the ground. So I think we need to look at the guidance which is handed out, because I think it is unacceptable in your case, Fiona, where you're literally 10 minutes over in another local authority and having a completely different experience. We need to have that across Scotland, that sort of access to be equal. I'd like to see COSLA really lead that, because often that's when they are negotiating that's away from Parliament, between COSLA and the government in terms of when we extend these sorts of opportunities, what's then delivered and who follows that up, because I'm doing freedom of information requests at the minute to find out actually where has that money gone and whether or not it's gone to the front line, as we all hoped it would be. But to go back to the key to this whole question is, I think all politicians have to be honest that we need more money to be invested into social care, and we're kind of getting social care on the cheap, quite honestly. So we need to look towards the future, what that looks like for more money, and I think what is key is finding that political consensus, and I hope the next Parliament will. The Prime Minister has said he wants to make sure that happens, where we can actually look towards where we're going to raise that additional money, because care is not cheap, and getting people to work in care for minimum wages, now living wage, isn't necessarily attracting people to go into that career. So we're not getting those individuals actually working on the front line. So I think we need to look at that and hope that there's a political consensus, because the last Parliament and Brexit, to be honest, in this Parliament has stopped us really looking at these key fundamental issues. And I think it's about time we did, because it's quite clear that as a country we need to have that debate about funding and workforce, and we've just not had it.
Okay, thanks very much. Fiona, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's helpful. I think social care is underfunded, and that has to change. And I agree that people who then prop up social care shouldn't be the people who are most disadvantaged as a result of a disability, and which has already resulted in financial disadvantage. So social care just has to be properly funded.
Thank you for that, Fiona. And this isn't a question, but it is a comment that came into us via Facebook from Claire Louise Donia Bennett. She said, "There's no social care at any other than extreme level." She says, "My mum was just told she's not eligible for care at home, that if her drugs don't work, she can't move, and therefore she can't eat or manage her self-care." So I think that is a further indication of some of the big issues that are around social care, and quite probably underpinning the need for more investment there.
Just a quick point on that, because I know time's of the essence, but I think two key points which we need to also get right is around carers, where there's a significant issue, other person helping that individual. How are we actually making sure services are looking out for them as well? So some of the work we did, and I praise the Scottish Government around the Carers Act, was good, but again that's not being implemented. So part of the work I'm about to start with Amanda Capel is reviewing carers legislation and looking to the future. So we want to find out from carers how we can improve the package of care available, because the billions of pounds of care provided by carers in Scotland and across the UK, we can never forget, we could never fund that. So I think it's really important we look towards that. And secondly, around guidance, because it goes back to your point, NICE guidance, which has recently been updated, specifically look towards diagnostics, treatment and management of Parkinson's disease. And I think it's really important that we start to make sure these guidelines start to be enforced, because if we don't, then we're always going to have a postcode lottery. So I think it's about time we looked at our own Scottish guidelines and where we can take those forward as well.
Okay, thank you, Miles. Given that you've grabbed an opportunity there, I feel that your fellow panel members should also have the opportunity to come in with any other thoughts that have occurred during this discussion.
I suppose, going back to, I mean, I agree with Miles in terms of social care isn't cheap. To get it right isn't cheap. And, you know, there's undoubtedly financial pressure on local authorities that means that there's a sometimes more confrontational than would be helpful when it comes to the pounds and pence relationship between the IJBs that are providing those social care services and the councils in terms of setting their budget, although some of those barriers are getting broken down because of some of the things the Scottish Government has done, like the additional money that they gave in last year's budget, which meant another £9 million for Edinburgh, and part of the deal of that was that the amount of money that we gave already was pretty much ring-fenced, although the Scottish Government gave a little bit of flexibility later down the line. So the uplifts that we've seen in that financial package for IJBs, for those providing that social care within the whole of Scotland, whether it's Edinburgh or anywhere else, has been quite dramatic. But even more dramatic than that has been the increase in demand, has been the increase in need across our communities, and I have to say a change in our expectations about what we want as a society and what standards we want to hit, and that I think is what motivated Amanda so doggedly to pursue Frank's Law, and why it was so important that it was put in place, more than £30 million in additional funding for local authorities across the country to deliver that. And I'll be interested to see the results of the FOIs that Miles gets back as anyone else. The scale, I think, of change is something like a 30% increase from the 2018-2019 figures in terms of in terms of social care as a whole package. But part of it's the funding, and part of it's funding of local government, and there's definitely a relationship there, although the way the Scottish Government framed the funding settlement with social care partners and IJBs, I think, challenges some of that actually a little bit. But it's partly about the pounds and pence, and it's partly about the structure of it. And unless we move the whole system towards a very shifted balance of care, the demands that we all have because we want to be an ethical society and we want to care for people are just going to get more and more difficult for us to manage. So it's partly about the amount that's put in, but it's probably more about the model that we apply. And that's not to talk necessarily specifically about Parkinson's disease and those experiencing it, because the problem that those services have the unfortunate coincidence of being part of the mix of are much wider, and they're about the ageing population as a whole, which is what's driving predominantly up the rates of Parkinson's disease within our society, amongst other things. So it's about changing that balance of care, and until we do that in a holistic way, some of the more specialist problems that people have to live with, you know, we won't be in a position to put the adequate resource into those, because we'll be spending so much money on things that actually were preventable. And if we get it right now, in 10 years and 5 years, actually we'll have done the work to, you know, keep Mrs. McIver in a different kind of house than she was in before, and she'll be living within the community and she'll be much happier. And it means that the money that we would have spent on Mrs. McIver in a nursing home will be able to go into those services that actually people won't have a choice about, in providing that really holistic, detailed, personalised, and more often than not acute services for those that really will need it in future. 20,000 people in 20 years will have Parkinson's disease in Scotland. We can see that coming. We need to take the actions now to anticipate that and manage it. And it's not just a case of throwing money into the problem, it's a case of fundamentally rethinking how we shape care for not just people with Parkinson's disease, but with